session 2 of part 3 of our Microsoft workshop, and in this session, in this part, we are checking the document. So I'm going to show you in this session is how to use the editor. In the previous session, I showed you how to use track changes and comments, how to add comments and how to edit the track changes. And this session, we're going to use the editor. Now, in the old Microsoft Word, or the previous versions of Microsoft Word, this was your spelling and grammar checker, and they changed the name to editor because it's a lot more involved in your document right now. Microsoft Word has introduced something where it sort of almost have a predictive type of text. If your document becomes long enough, it sort of learns how to what it is that you want to write or what you're writing about, and it may even suggest certain words while you type your document. So the editor has really become a very, very, very powerful tool that can be used with your document. Previously, other add-ins or third-party checkers like Grammarly could have been used, and you can still use that if you choose to. However, in my opinion, the Microsoft Word editor is a very powerful tool to use. And in our first session, in the setup of our document, I've shown you how to set up your editor to review and edit and do certain things while you type your document, or even after you've typed your document. So in this session, we're going to go to that. So let's get back to our BMT Microsoft Word styling setup, the document that we've been using in this workshop. And before we start, as with every session, we will save our document. And in this session, we are using, in our menu button, we are using the review menu. So let's go back to our review menu. We've used comments, we've used track changes. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to, right there at the beginning, you've got proofing. And in that session, we're going to click on editor. So the moment that I click on editor, you will see here on the right hand side that the editor pane opens up. And in that editor pane, you see right now I've got a score of 88%. It shows me the different types of corrections that can be done in this document, and I'm just going to try to move this a little bit so you can see a bit more of it, and then we will have our we've got our corrections, which includes the spelling and grammar mistakes. Clarity, it gives me where I can make refinements to my text. And I remember, this is very much like your supervisor. This is suggestions made by Word on words or sentences that can be more clear or more concise, and that the formality in all your sentences maybe doesn't comply to the settings that you've set this to at the beginning of this document. So I'm going to open this up again, and let's go to the spelling. And the moment that I click on spelling, it will show me the different options and what it feel is wrong in my document. So when we get there and was startled by the roar, so this will most likely be the roar of my own gun, we can click on that and it will correct that. Right here it says super hour. That will probably be a typing mistake, finger error, so we'll just put that in as super power, and then random should be random. Do you just write a random? So we'll click that change, and then we have a heading that should be in our tables. So what's great about the editor, it even goes into your tables and check the spelling and grammar in your tables. So in this case, that will be changed to heading. And the truth was, there was no way to know that, and that has, now see there's a little tick mark next to the spelling that says yes, everything has been checked. So let's go to our grammar, and this will run through your document once again. And the grammar will suggest a little comma behind. After that, husband is in the hospital, at least this, and that just basically, there was an extra space, only one space between words. There was actually, you can see there's an extra space, and when we go to our special letters, remember that little show hide the background characters. You'll see there, if you can see, there's between all of the words, there's only one little dot which indicates a space, but in this case, there's two little dots that shows there's an extra space. So I'm going to agree with Word. Let's fix that extra space. That's not necessary at all. So let's go back to our normal. Do you really listen? Has for, so that is once again, that's an extra space. And good answers should be that, and hold, and but after that there should not be a comma. And Word said okay, everything has been fixed, but there's one more problem, so let's see where that is. Let's go back. Clarity. Yet since I'm always seeing the source whenever he stated. I'll say that is, I don't care. So what we can say is, if I agree with the word I've used, I can say just ignore this. The house was located, found. Yeah, I like located is a better word to use there. We'll use located. She decided to choose to change it. She decided to choose. She determined she was. So maybe it was, if we change that, um, maybe we can insert was determined to choose to change that. Maybe that can, so then we'll resume our checking. Let's check our conciseness. That or if you are able to, that is that, it's wordiness, something that people sometimes love to do, is they add more words to a sentence that's absolutely unnecessary and doesn't make a sentence better, but only makes it a lot more complicated without sounding better at all. So the idea is you want to keep your sentence simple, yet informative and powerful and punchy. So the moment that you just start to add words, or able to, so far, it just makes the sentence extremely wordy. And that goes for a lot of words that is just being added and added and added to sentences, making it almost unreadable. And that's something that you want to avoid. You want to clearly convey your message to the reader, even in an academic document like this. Your sentence alone, a simple sentence, can already sound very confusing without having to add a lot of extra words to that sentence, making it even more confusing. Remember, you want your assessor or your examiner to easily mark your research project, not look at the sentence and try to figure out, because you'll lose marks if they can't figure out what it is that you want to convey in your message. So in simple change to can, the river likely had it doesn't change anything to that sentence. She actually takes, well, if you either take a thing or you're not, so the actually takes doesn't change anything to that sentence. If she pretended to take, that would have changed the meaning of the sentence, but she takes every word, practically everything. It's one of those words people just like to throw it into a sentence, but once again, it doesn't change anything to the sentence or the structure or the meaning of this document. So more than anything else, that all changed the instant you that was actually behind. Once again, actually behind. You're either behind the bush or you're not. If it was a virtual bush, or pretended, or it was a metaphor or something, then the metaphorically behind the bush, then that was something that would change the meaning of that sentence, or give more meaning to that sentence. But actually behind doesn't mean anything. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't make the sentence or the structure better at all. In order to keep meat from burning, it's got exactly the same meaning. It is just a lot simpler. So to keep meat from burning, and there we've covered all our conciseness except the one that we've agreed with. Formality, they were just all too afraid to ever go and see it in person. And I'll agree with that and say, okay, just to see it in person. and in that we've changed just about everything in our document. So we've edited what we wanted to edit, and we reviewed the different suggestions made by Microsoft Word in the editor. So now we can go and you see my track changes were still on, and in this case what happened was now this will also go to your supervisor, or your supervisor can see the different corrections that was made in your document. And once again, when we go to review, I can now say, let's just view this with simple markup, and then your document will look something like this. And when you click on that, once again, it will show you the different changes and the updates and corrections that was made to your document. And if you want to view it in the original or the no markup, it will show you the document without everything. And that is using your editor, a very powerful tool. And I've shown you a couple of very basic things that the editor does or will do. However, when you start to work with a bigger document, your research project will be around 30-35 pages. That becomes a big document. When you start to do a thesis, maybe if you decide to study further, go into postgraduate studies, maybe that will get to a 40 or an 80 page document. If you decide to even go further than that, you want to go to your master's, a full master's dissertation can be between 200 to 300 pages. And then obviously when you get your doctorates, then you will start to work on that 500, 600 page document. And then something like the editor is really something that you want to have behind you. And why do you do that? Why do you check these things? Why do you want to make sure? Because once again, when your examiner reads this and they have to sort of struggle through spelling mistakes and struggle through grammar mistakes, and your sentences aren't concise, and it's difficult to figure out what exactly it is that you want to say, or the message that the report that you're reporting on, then it really becomes difficult to examine or mark your research report. So the editor is a powerful tool. Do use it. Do that final checks even before you hand it in between, before you hand it in and send it back to your supervisor just to review. Always strive to hand in a good document that is reviewed, that's good. Spelling is checked, grammar is checked, and everything is checked before you hand it in for review. Remember, you also want to make it easy for your supervisor to give you good feedback. Otherwise, they're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of their time, only correcting your spelling and grammar, and they can't really get to your actual report in order to make the corrections or review the stuff that you actually want them to review. So the better the document is that you hand in, the more valuable feedback you will get from your supervisor when they send back the document. Okay, so that's it for the session of using the editor. In this session, we've used the review of how to review the different options or the different things, the corrections that the editor suggests. I've shown you their editor pane, and also how to review their suggestions and either accept them or reject them or ignore them and make those changes to your document. The last bit of this, of part 3, session 3, will be just checking basic formatting. Some of the things that may happen in your document, like losing cross-references, and just checking that and making sure, once again, like I said, before you hand in your document, even if you hand it into your supervisor, just to make sure that everything is updated and everything is still correct in your document. Thank you and enjoy.